Welcome to Stress-Free IEP. You do not need to do it all alone. With your host, Francis Shefter, Principal of Shefter Law. You can get more details and catch prior episodes at www.shefterlaw.com. The Stress-Free IEP video podcast is also posted on YouTube and LinkedIn, and you can listen to episodes through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. Now, here's the host of Stress-Free IEP, Francis Shefter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. If you're watching live, sorry for the late start. We had some technical difficulties. As you can see, I do not have a guest on my show today. The person that was scheduled, had an emergency, so of course we rescheduled. And I decided to take the time to tell a little bit about my story for those of you that might not know. So I started my career as special education teacher. Started as regular education teacher with an undergrad in early childhood. And then I went back and got my master's in special education. So moved over to special ed. For 7 years, I taught in elementary school. And then I moved to an alternative middle and high school where I was, shortly after moving there, became the special ed coordinator. And after 2 years at that, it didn't feel right anymore. I didn't feel like I was making a difference. They wanted me to take an office job in central office. And I'm like, no, it's about the kids for me. That's where my heart is. I want to help the kids. And so I decided to take the LSATs, and one thing led to another. And the next thing I knew, I was at Stetson University College of Law. And I got my law degree. I worked in Florida for about 1.5 years doing family law, which was definitely not my thing. Works for some, not for me. And I moved back up to Maryland. And when I moved to Maryland, I learned about DC Superior Court abuse and neglect system that had a special education panel. So I applied to be on the panel, and first time wasn't accepted, second time got accepted, and that's where it started. I was assisting families with special education needs when schools weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And as time went on, I started building my practice more and moving into private practice more, and realizing that the court cases weren't necessarily exactly what I wanted to be doing, because sometimes clients weren't as invested as I was. And sometimes the people asking for us to be represented didn't exactly know what we did. And so they would call us about attendance issues. And unless there's a special education issue behind it, attendance is not really an issue that I can help with. So as I've been building my practice, I was walking one day. I used to walk every morning and listen to podcasts. And I came up with the term Stress-Free IEP. What does that mean? Here's what it means. You get to be the parent. When you bring on Shefter Law PA, one of our team members, we take the stress away from you. Obviously, it's your child. There's going to be some stress, but the reality is when you're a parent and have everything you need to worry about at an IEP meeting, it's overwhelming. And trust me, I know I'm a parent as well. And if I get overwhelmed at my own child's IEP meeting occasionally. So what we do is we are there listening to everything and discovering, hearing what they're saying, knowing what the hidden words are. Having the special education background definitely helps with that. And so we are listening and know what to say and what needs to be said and how to argue when the school is saying something that we disagree with. The other thing, what I always love to tell clients, is that be the parent, say what you want. It doesn't matter. It's okay. There is nothing that a parent can say at an IEP meeting that I can't say. What my client is trying to say is, and then I put it in the words that it needs to be for the school to say, oh, okay, we'll put that in the IEP or in the 504 plan or whatever the case may be. So you get to be the parent at an IEP meeting. So I get a lot of people asking, why do you have a YouTube channel? Why do you give out so much free information? 100 videos, a show? I don't get it. I'm a teacher. I was born a teacher, raised a teacher. That's who I was. That's who I am. And although I'm a lawyer now and I own my law firm, I still love to teach. I don't want families to have to use us. I want you, as the families and the parents and the caregivers, to be able to advocate for your children by yourself. So I am always happy to share my knowledge through my YouTube videos, through my show, and so forth. The other reason, so I started with my YouTube channel, and about a year, I would say about a year and a half in, my cousin Randy, who was the first guest on my show, was like, we should do something together. We should do something together. And I just kept saying, ugh, I don't have the time to put together a podcast. It makes it difficult. And so Fabulous Video Socials started a new group, VIP, and that's exactly what it is, producing the show. And so Randy and I kicked it off. I do this to teach. When you first get a diagnosis as a parent of a child, of your child, of whether it's ADHD, autism, or even if it's not a diagnosis, but there's something quirky about your child, sometimes you don't know what's out there. And so this show is about saying, hey, look, here's what's out there. See what fits for you. And I will tell you, one of the guests on my show, I was like, oh, I need you. I didn't know she existed. If I didn't know that, if I didn't have her on my show, I wouldn't have known that she was the right fit for my child. And my child's doing amazing with her and has learned and is doing so much better. So that's the thing. I'm learning along with you all. That's what it's all about. Stress-Free IEP, showing you all, telling parents, telling families, caregivers, foster parents, aunties, uncles, everybody out there, grandparents that's caring for a child or has a child in their life that needs some extra help in school potentially, or not, it might not even be in school, needs extra tutoring, needs physical therapy, needs occupational therapy, whatever it may be. That's what I want to teach families. So at the end of most of my YouTube, well, a lot of my YouTube videos, the little short 3-minute ones, I say, if you have ideas or recommendations of topics, please feel free to email me or, email info@shefterlaw.com or post on one of the videos. I'm always looking for new topics and I want to hear from the families of what you need and what you want to hear about, because that's where it's all important. And, to give a few examples, I've had families. I actually had a parent the other day send me a message and said, thank you so much for your videos. I watched your video, and after going round and round with the school system for months, once I said what you said to do and did it and did the official request, within a week, the school responded. So that's what it's all about. I want you all, parents, families, caregivers, everyone involved with children, to be able to know what words and how to say things to get the school to know, oh, they know what they're talking about. There's been times I've told friends or, acquaintances, like, just tell the school you were talking to an attorney. And just that little phrase alone, the school changes their mind about what they want, because most schools don't want attorneys involved because sometimes, they think it's adversarial. Well, that brings us back to us. With Shefter Law PA, we're not always adversarial. We're advocates. We are, the other associate on my team and the advocate on my team, all of us were former teachers in the school system. We have fought the fight on the other side. I don't like saying side as the team, but with the school, we fought the fight, but now we're helping the families get even the playing field. Because I know going into an IEP meeting, there's 5, 8 people on the, of the school, and you can tell they had their pre-meeting and knew what they were going to say. And then you there feeling all alone, and they don't make you feel like a part of the team. Oftentimes they don't listen to you as the parent. But when a parent comes in with the knowledge and showing they're prepared and using the buzzwords, schools definitely perk up and pay attention. And then, as I was saying, bringing attorneys in, yes, sometimes that seems adversarial, but what happens bringing attorneys in is that the school's attorneys usually come as well, and people from central office. Schools don't always know all of the options or the rules and the laws. And that's nothing to say bad about the schools because it's a lot to know. And I've been there, so I know. But when somebody from central office comes in, sometimes there's other ideas that are presented or floated that makes all the difference in the world. So that's what bringing an attorney in can do, is brings the central office people. And again, it doesn't have to be adversarial. I like to say it all the time, like at IEP meetings, I usually get funny looks if people haven't worked with me before when I start rewriting goals and they're looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, you're an attorney. And so when I tell them my background, and I know my associate does it also, the schools are like, oh, so they listen to us more, which, it's hard because do you want to bring an attorney? Do you not want to bring an attorney? What should you do? And that's the thing. At Shefter Law PA, the other thing we do is we offer strategy sessions. What's a strategy session? Some people are like, isn't that just a fancy name for a consultation? No. What our strategy sessions are, it's a 1-hour meeting with one of our attorneys talking about your issues, talking about the options, talking about what potential outcomes are if you choose to go this way or that way. Sometimes the strategy session means you're bringing us on to assist you to get to your ultimate goal. Sometimes at the strategy sessions, we tell you, you know what? While bringing us on could do A, your child really needs B, and you'd be better off spending your money on B. And that's who we are. Integrity is very important to us, as well as focusing on your child. We care about children. We want to make the difference in the children's lives. So we are not going to recommend to families something just because it makes us more money or just because the parent even wants it. If it's not what we think is right for the child, we will tell the parents, like, well, I see where you want that, but this might be a little bit better, and gently guide you. And if you choose that that's not what you want, then that's fine. We're not the right match and we can refer you to somebody else. But most of the time, our strategy sessions, people appreciate it. They are so thankful. Sometimes they continue to work with us, sometimes they don't. I've had people that have had strategy sessions, started out on their own, a year later said, I can't do this again. I can't do this anymore. And then they'll bring us on. Whatever it is, we're here to support you. But the show, Stress-Free IEP podcast, as well as my YouTube channel, Shefter Law PA, are there to educate you all as the families, the parents, the caregivers, the foster parents, grandparents, and as the list goes on and on, of all of us that are in children's lives. We are here for you. We want to educate you. Because that's what it's all about, is that we want to empower families with the knowledge and resources needed to bring peace and harmony to their homes. And why do I say peace and harmony to their homes? Because when you have the right supports in the school, you have a different child that comes home. It's amazing the difference, because your child is not stressed at school or masking all day at school and then fall apart when they come home. Your child's getting the appropriate support. So when they come home, they're not completely stressed out and freaked out because they didn't have what they needed then. So getting supports in place for your children is so important. And I hope you all find my videos useful. And again, please reach out. Like if you know somebody that, this person would be great to be on your show, or if you yourself think you'd be great on the show, that's fabulous also. Please definitely reach out, info@shefterlaw.com, or put comments in the notes below or any of the sort. We are here to help you and educate you. I'm Frances Shefter with Shefter Law PA, where we help families have a stress-free IEP experience.
You've been listening to Stress-Free IEP with your host, Frances Shefter. Remember, you do not need to do it all alone. You can reach Frances through shefterlaw.com, where prior episodes are also posted. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, and sharing the show with others through YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more.